Alright, in order to take my mind off the fact that people are getting mad over rainbows being put on shirts again, it's time for another review. This one is quite a rarity. Quite a rarity. This was a trash find, and the base was absolutely freaking destroyed. So, thankfully, there was a base on eBay that I managed to get my hands on. Now it works, although it's now falling victim to BPS, brittle plastic syndrome, because it's from 2003. It's old. Of course, I am talking about the one, the only Sanitaire Eureka Victory thing. I don't know what this is called, so I'm just going to call it by its model number, which is SC4570B-1. So the SC4570, it is a commercial machine, obviously. It is based off of the Eureka Victory lineup, which we all know and hate because they were notoriously bad. But I mean, this one, despite the fact that there were literal bits of metal in the motor, it surprisingly still runs and runs pretty good. So roadside find, the whole freaking base was chewed up. Like, there was a big gap in this little line of shame, the belt guard. There was just a huge freaking gap in there, and the brush roll rattled in the housing like crazy, and the owners tried to fix it by coating the end caps in electrical tape. I don't know if that worked, because I did not turn it on until after I completely tore the thing apart. But, yeah. So, this did not come with the vacuum. The vacuum was completely missing the handle release pedal. That came off of the Eureka Victory Smart Vac, which is now long gone because I hate Eureka Victories with a burning passion. And that thing was really just doing nothing except sitting back there and collecting dust. So I scrapped it for parts, and now I have some components on this. But, there's another thing wrong with this. I don't know if you could see down in there. Yeah, that's not the motor mount. That is a piece of PVC pipe because the hinges that you would usually see on the body and the motor cover were broken off and are now replaced by two pieces of PVC pipe that move within each other. So I don't know if that's because of the brittle plastic syndrome or because they just abuse the absolute hell out of this. Which I'll also say that there's a missing slot where the screw goes in on one of these. Oops, didn't mean to bump that. I think it was this screw down in here. The slot that it goes into on the actual cover piece is obliterated, so it's just sitting in there. Other than that, it's together. It's in kind of one piece-ish. It runs. It's surprisingly very quiet. I'm surprised the motor bearings are not screaming at me to put them out of their misery, as these usually do. I don't have a lot to say about that. I don't know how well this thing cleans. I guess I should probably test that with the flour test, which is a half surface, half deep clean sort of test. But it doesn't feel like it's doing a terrible job, but it's nothing to write home about. It is very quiet though, and I like that. But I think this thing only has a 9-amp motor, and the suction power on this thing is very weak for a full-sized commercial upright. It's not bad, it's just very weak. There is not a whole lot of power on this. So it was the Force is a definite upgrade over this. But I will say I do like the fact that this has a headlight, unlike whatever Sanitaire's throwing out the door nowadays. And that Bissell owns them. So I'll give you a little demo of it. You'll get to hear the vacuum itself, which does have a little bit of a whine that starts to show up after a while, but other than that, it runs pretty good. There really isn't a whole lot to say about this. I do not use it that much. Mainly because I just want to preserve this, but also because it's really not that powerful. I mean, it's nice and quiet, so I guess if I'm like cleaning like very low area, like very low pile rugs, I'll probably use this, but then again, I'll probably just use something like the Force or whatever other commercial machines I have, like the 550 Century 3, or maybe this, or whatever commercial stuff I have. Speaking of that, hopefully I will be adding some more commercial vacuums. More vacuums that were used commercially to my collection. I just need to get a response from the owner, which happens to be a schoolmate. But yeah, there really isn't a whole lot about it. It's like the Ohio of vacuums, or the Iowa of vacuums, because screw you, Iowa. Not exciting, nothing to write home about. It's just here. It's the Iowa vacuums. Which isn't a whole lot to say about this, because it's really all it is. It's extremely rare, but you actually get your hands on one, and then you realize that, man, this really just isn't anything special. Like, it would be great for offices, which is probably what these were designed for, but it's nothing really that special. Out of 10, I'd probably give it at least a 6 out of 10. It's really not that great, but it is rare and cool to have, so it gets a pity point, I guess. Anyways, I mean, they are very rare machines, so if you see one, without a doubt, definitely get it. But if you plan on like dailying one, just go out and buy a Sanitaire Force. You'll be happier with the Force, because they have the H10 HEPA bags available for them, which means less dust goes into the motor. But yeah, I'm Jax Vaccine Safety, signing off with another review, and I'll see y'all in the next one.